Hey everybody, it's Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world. This is Flosstube number 74. Today is Wednesday, February 3rd. It's only just been a little over 2 weeks since I last filmed, but it feels like longer because I have so much to show you guys. I've been really busy, so there's a lot to cover, and this video is probably going to be really long. You can already tell how long it's going to be, but I'm going to try to move fast. I say that sometimes and then I forget and I just start rambling, but I'm gonna try. So the first thing I want to show you guys is some new patterns from my design brand, which is Hemlock Rye Stitchery. I will make sure I link that down below. I'm gonna make a note to myself right now. So I will link down below my website, Hemlock Rye Stitchery. It is on a website called Gumroad, and the reason I host my files on Gumroad is because I can offer them for free, which you can't do on a website like Etsy. And if you would like to pay for the patterns, you have that option, but you can also grab them for free. So I made a new set of patterns to celebrate, primarily just to celebrate Valentine's Day. The idea for this pattern has been kicking around in my head for a while, and then when it finally was like time for me to sit down and work on them, I realized Valentine's Day was approaching, and I thought, okay, that'll be my target that I'll aim for. So these are called the Helpless Trio. They are inspired by the Broadway musical Hamilton. And I will, it's hard to show them all at once. I will show them individually. But these are cute little heart pillows, and they feature lyrics from one of the songs in the musical, which is called Helpless. And so these are... So here's one. So this one is, had to look, I couldn't remember. This is My Heart Went Boom. And this is 32 count linen from Fortnite Fabrics called Grandma's Stuffing. That is a permanent fabric. You can get it. It's not like a monthly subscription club. You can actually go buy that. It's a really, really cool, like gold, warm gold, like old parchment-y look. And I stitched this with Forbidden Fiber Company Floss. And I wanted to, I've been hearing about this floss company. They started as like a yarn dyeing company, and they ventured into fancy floss. And I kept hearing about them primarily from Michelle Bendy Stitchy and from Garrett Coffee Stitcher. And they had a sale, I think it was around New Year's. So I went ahead and bought a whole bunch. And then I exclusively used their floss for these patterns. However, there is a DMC conversion because I know this isn't necessarily a company that people have easily on hand. I will say that they shipped, I ordered and I think they shipped within a day or two, and I got it really, really fast. So if you would like to try their floss, I highly recommend. Really good quality, great service, super fast. I'm very happy with their floss. But if that's something that you just can't get a hold of right now, there is a DMC conversion for these patterns. And actually I'll pop a picture in right here. So I feel like I got pretty close with the DMC color on almost all of the flosses. So at least you could grab the DMC and then you could go to your stash and find something that'll work that's close. So anyway, I guess I should show you the rest of the patterns though. But here was the first one, My Heart Went Boom. The characters, these are based on actual characters in the musical, loosely, but this is Eliza, and this is one of the swings, one of the background dancer performers in the musical. And then I've got I Am So Into You, and this is Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. And then I've got Boy, You Got Me Helpless, and this is Angelica and Alexander Hamilton. So another really cool thing about these patterns is that they all have, they all line up where the hands meet on these. They all line up. So you can actually interchange these. So like, if you're a purist and you simply must have Alexander and Eliza together, you can do that. You can take this Alexander and this Eliza and you can match them up. So you can make your own pairings if you don't like the pairing that's charted for some reason. I don't know. You can when you purchase, God, words are hard today. I'm struggling. If you purchase or grab the patterns for free from the Gumroad, you get all three of these charted in this way. You get all three of these in one. I just dropped it. In one PDF. Okay. So finishing. These are finished with a coloring cotton fabric, a finishing fabric, a cotton, not like a stitching fabric. This was from the, I think it was 2018 Halloween box, or was it 2019? Whichever, like, I think it was their first Halloween box. They included this piece of quilting cotton that they had dyed. And I've just had it in stash forever, and I realized it would just be perfect with these patterns. The poms are Lady Dot Creates mini pom-poms, and I did use 3 different colors. I used, these are really lovely too. I used Chianti, which is like a really deep berry red. I used Berry Crush, which is just a nice berry color. And then I used Barn Door, which is kind of a dusty pink. So I actually grabbed all 3 of these from Top Knot Stitcher, which is one of my favorite places to shop. She sent them out, I think she sent them out within like half an hour of my order. And so I got them very fast. And for finishing into a heart, it might seem a little intimidating or tricky to some people, but it was actually like pretty easy. It was my first time doing it, and I just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of went for it. But what I did was I took a piece of paper and I folded it in half. And I drew, you can still see my lines. I drew half a heart. And then I cut it out. And I actually got it on the first try. Like, I thought it might take me a couple of attempts, but actually my first try, I was like, okay, that's not terrible. I don't hate it. And then I, on my fabric, I traced my heart, and then of course left like extra fabric around. And then I did like a pillow, like you would any pillow finish, but just did the heart shape. So like I left like this, a little spot here on this seam open, and for turning it out, and then stuffed it, and then blind stitched it, and then stitched on my pom-pom. So I think they turned out really super cute. You certainly don't have to finish them as a heart, but they were designed to be finished as a heart. So those are my newest designs. They're very hard to show off all at once, but I'm really, really happy with these, and I'm excited that I've got them out and ready for Valentine's Day, or just, you know, all the time. I don't think they're just seasonal. I'll probably keep them out all the time. The other thing I wanted to say about these was that you can stitch them really quickly. This one I think I did in 1 day, and then the other ones I was able to do in 2 days, only because these dresses, you know, there's a lot of stitching in the dresses, so those did take a little bit of time. But if you have you know, if you have a weekend where you can stitch quite a bit, you could probably get most of these done. Actually, one of these I did stitch in one day, but I stitched all day long, like all day. So that's probably not entirely fair to say, you know, you can do this in a day, because it was like, well, I stitched for 8 hours that day. So that's why I was able to do that. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is these feature just the Forbidden Fiber company floss, and one DMC. The white is $38.65. But I do have the DMC conversion. But then I also used some gold Mill Hill beads for the buttons on Alexander's jacket. So I do list the ones I used, but really just like any petite gold bead would be perfect. Or you could do French knots. I actually originally planned to do French knots. That was my goal all along. But my French knots looked really terrible. So I ripped them out and did beads instead. And you can too. All right, so that is the Helpless Trio. You can get it on my Gumroad below. I had one other finish. I finished the Bendy Stitchy Winter Witches. This is an Under the Sea Fabrics crystal or opalescent 18 count Ada, and it came just like this size. It was an ornament pack, but I did the math and it would fit, and I don't need a big margin. That's plenty for me to finish. I used not all the called for colors. I used some of the called for colors. I substituted some. I did have to, so Michelle charted, like, all of the snow is charted with DMC Blanc Etoile. And I did try that, but it just did not show up on my fabric, I think because it was sparkly already. So I did switch that to just plain old DMC. I don't think it's B5200. I think it's DMC Blanc. So, but I thought I had enough sparkle in the background that I wasn't too worried about it. So that was a finish in God, it seems like it was ages ago, but I guess it was in the last 2 weeks. So those were my finishes. And then I had a bunch of works in progress because, I am trying something this year. I'm taking a page out of Erin to Martini Stitcher. I'm taking a page from her, and I am doing something called WIP birthdays. And all that is when you start a WIP, a work in progress, when you start a project, if you have written down or noted the day you start it, that's its birthday. And I do, when I start something, I write down when I started it. So if I started something on January 10th of 2019, then its birthday is January 10th. So this is a way where, so what I'm doing is I'm getting the project out and working on it on its birthday. And this is a way to make sure I touch on and work on all of my many works in progress, my WIPs, that I work on all of them this year basically. So I thought it was a brilliant idea. It kind of makes it like a manageable goal for the year, instead of just saying like, I'm going to work on all of my WIPs this year, but then just like trying to figure out how to schedule that and how to do that. And I tried to do that in 2020 and it did not happen. So this is a way, I think, to break it up into like bite-sized pieces. So I tend to like to start things in January. So I had a lot of works in progress that I needed to work on this. I was going to say this month, but we're in February now. So works in progress for January. Well, the first one, it's not that it had a birthday. I just happened to work on it in January because this is a monthly stitch along and I'm trying to keep up with it. So this is Autumn Lane Stitchery, Dark Queen of the Seas Stitch Along. And I did complete the January section. And the January section is all of this seaweed and this coral. So that was January, and it was a lot of stitching. They had told us it was going to be an easy section, but I found it to be really pretty intense. That's a ton of stitching. It took a long time. February section just came out, and I've got just the tiniest. I was working on it last night, so I've just got a tiny little start. It's this black right in here. I will write a note to myself right now to put a picture in for you guys to show you what February's release looks like. So I'm going to do the skull because of course I am. So I'm going to do that version. And it's stitched actually with DMC Etoile, the 310 and the 823, which is like a dark navy. So I will be getting back to that because I want to keep up with this stitch along. And then if you've watched my previous videos, you're aware that I did change her hair. She was charted with blue or purple hair. And then they actually released an extension pack with, I think, 10 different hair colors because people were just like going crazy and having fun with all the different hair colors. I had already figured out my hair conversion, and I think I had actually almost finished it when they released that pack. But I do believe there's a red, maybe like a darker red in that pack, and there's like a hot pink. There's a bunch of really cool colors in there. So I still love this stitch along, and I still have every intention of keeping up with it and having that huge finish this fall. I think the last piece of this stitch along releases in September. Another stitch along that I'm doing is with Fat Quarter Shop. I'm doing the Sew by Row from It's So Emma, Lori Holt, Be in My Bonnet. This is available through the Fat Quarter Shop. I think that's the only place you can get it. And I am way behind. I think today actually we're supposed to have this row done. So you do a row each week, and I think this was due today. I'm just finished the tomato. I'm on the sewing machine, so I'm behind, but that's okay. That's fine. It's gonna be okay. So I'm gonna, oh, I need to take this Q-snap off. So I have the top 2 rows done, and I've started on the 3rd, which is a lot of stitching, but it's actually going pretty well because it is just blocks of color. The pin cushions took longer than I thought just because you're changing color constantly. So this is a 36 count picture, this plus linen in the color Zephyr. And I'm using 1 strand of floss over 2 threads, and I am using the Prim Aura floss, which I got from Fat Quarter Shop. And this is just some of the colors, not all of the colors. This is solid. It's a solid color, no variegation, very similar to DMC, but it comes off the spool as it's 6-stranded cotton. You do have to separate it just like you do DMC, but it comes like this on a spool. But yeah, there's where I'm at on that. Gotta get caught up on that. This is my lunchtime stitching. So it's a little bit slow going because, you know, that usually ends up only being like 30 minutes of stitching a day. Okay, so some birthday whips. I got back out the Cross Stitcher Magazine Adventures of Alice Stitch Along. I will insert a picture. I have to make notes because I say I'm going to do these things and then I never do. So that is why I am making a note right now. Adventure of Alice. So let me show you guys what the completed piece looks like. So I did not stay caught up with this, but that's okay. I don't know that I ever had a serious goal that I wanted to be caught up. I'm stitching this on 32 count. Picture this plus, I believe this is Legacy. Oh, I have it right here. Legacy. Picture this plus Legacy. So with the border, it calls for like 1,000,000 red beads, and I have not put the beads on yet. But where you see border stitched, it is all completed except for the beads, which I'll add at the very end. And what I did this round was this block. I had the border done, and I didn't have the block outlined yet. So I did the outline, the teacup, and then I stitched the Mad Hatter and did all the back stitch. The back stitch is intense on this. Every time I show this, I get 1,000,000 questions, and I totally understand why, because it's stunning. It's amazing. Oh, ignore this part right here. This is just, I need to frog this. I need to rip this out. This was originally, I was stitching something else on this fabric, and I abandoned that project. Anyway, I get a lot of questions about this, and it's very, I don't mean to sound like snarky or mean, but it's really tiring to like explain it over and over to people. So if you are looking for this stitch along, you can buy a subscription, and you can get back issues to the magazine digitally. So the magazine is Cross Stitcher Magazine, and this stitch along starts in the February 2020 issue. So February 2020 is the border, the entire border, and then March 2020 is the first block, and then April 2020, and so on and so on. So get a digital subscription that includes back issues, and you need to go to February 2020, and you can stitch this for yourself. Really fun to stitch, and actually this only took a day or a night of stitching, so really quick. Another whip that had a birthday that I hadn't worked on in a really long time, but kept wanting to. Like every time I go through my projects and I see this one, I'm like, I want to work on that. I want to work on that. So I finally got it out. So this is Ink Circles Get Crackin'. And I'm stitching this with all of the called for floss, which is Gloriana's, which are just so beautiful. They're so pretty. Unfortunately, I did not get a lot of work done on this one because I only had just like a really short amount of time. So, my progress is kind of laughable. This is 36 count. Picture this plus in the color Serene. So you can tell these are older whips for me because I really rarely buy 36 count anymore because I'm usually not happy with the coverage. Like one strand is a little thin, 2 strands is a little too crowded. So I really don't buy 36 count anymore. I buy 40. But this one, I'm actually pretty happy with how the coverage looks on the 36 count. So again, all the called for colors. And all I did, because I really didn't have very long to work on this, I did this little motif, this little one, and then this little bit. So honestly, it was kind of embarrassing, and I think I'm going to not put this one away so that I can give it a little more time in February because I feel like I just didn't get to give it enough time. I was kind of, the month was getting away from me and I still had like a bunch of things I needed to work on, but I didn't have the days to work on them. So these whip birthdays only got like one day and I really wanted to give them more time than that. So some of these may actually get some more love in February. I actually don't have any whip birthdays in February. So February is like wide open. So a really old work in progress. This is the 2018 Mystery Stitch Along from Ingleside Imaginarium. It's called Guardians of Notre Dame, and I still love this pattern so much. It's absolutely incredible. Brittany did such a good job with this one. I love it. I don't really have a reason for why I haven't just like finished it. I don't know. This is on a 28 count linen that I dyed myself. And it's stitching, I remember when I was working on it like 2 years ago, no, 3 years ago now. Oh my gosh, 3 years ago. It seemed like they were taking a while, and I can really, like each block was taking a while, and now I can see how I've like progressed as a stitcher, because I started working on the 4th block and it was going like so fast, and I think I'm just a faster stitcher now. So these are all the called for colors. I had the first 3 blocks done. So I spent one night doing the outline of the next block, and then of course I still need to do the guardian, the gargoyle. But I could only devote one night to it. So again, I want to get this one back out and at least get that guy done before I put it away. Okay. It's only been like 2 weeks, but it feels like it was a lifetime ago. Inauguration Day, January 20th. I did participate in the inaugural Stitch Day Sal with Carla from Rolodex Stitchers and a whole bunch of other people. And I got out an old whip, Let Freedom Ring, from Lila's studio. And I jumped on a Zoom with Carla and a few other people, and I was just way too distracted to stitch, and I popped some bubbly during the swearing in of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and I got a little tipsy and I wasn't comfortable stitching on this because I just thought I might mess it up. So I didn't get very much done. But I did get it out and work on it that day. So this is, this was all mostly done before. So what I actually did that's new is just this little bit right in here. All of this. So all of this was already done before Inauguration Day. I love it though, and again, here's one that I would like to work on this month. Basically, I want February to be like a do-over of January because I have all of these. What it is I got all of these old whips out that I hadn't worked on in like 2 or 3 years, and I fell back in love with them, and I don't want to put them away. And I only got to work on them like 1 day, maybe 2 days. And then I don't want to put them away because I love them. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in February. Okay, and then another one. I was so excited because they've been way too long since I worked on my chatelaine. My chatelaine that I started in, I think it was 2018. I think it was 3 years ago. And the chatelaine, it's a PDF file, so I just have this printout of it. It's the Marie Antoinette. And again, like I can really see where I've grown as a stitcher, because I remember I was so intimidated when I was working on this 3 years ago. I was still kind of a new stitcher, and it was a new challenge to like stitch a chatelaine, and I think anyone can stitch a chatelaine. I don't mean to say that they're, you know, too advanced for people, but I was a little intimidated back then. And like just all the specialty stitches and the different fibers, and it was all a little bit overwhelming. But when I got it out this time, it was just really fun. It was a blast, and I felt much more confident in my ability to read the chart and interpret the stitches, and it was really fun to stitch on, and I don't want to put it away again. I want to keep working on this one. So this is Picture This Plus 32 count French lilac, and this is, I had a decent start, but what I did this round was, let me see, I did all of like the navy. I don't know how well you can see that, but I did all the navy. I did all of the gold over here. I think I had the top done, but I did all the gold in the bottom. And then I did all of the green on the border. And so what I have left to do on this section, I think what I'm going to do is I'm at least going to finish this section before I put this away for like another extended period of time. And all I have left to do are, I don't know if it's even going to show up on this picture because it's so, you know, small and blurry, but there are these over one fleur-de-lis that I need to do. And then, yeah, I think that's it. Just the over one, which they go like right here, in these little sections here. And then I need to do, oh, I'm not even, I wasn't even holding this upside, the right side, but it doesn't really matter because it's a mirror image. I need to do the gold. I started to do it right here. I need to do gold outline around all this green, which won't take very long. And then this section will be done except for the beads, which I think I'm going to do the beads very last. So I think before this goes away again, I'm going to get that over one done. And then I'll probably take a break instead of, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how I feel. That was so fun to work on. And I did not want to stop. I was actually, I remember like I was texting Amy and I was like, I'm super mad that I have to put this away. I don't want to. But the reason, and you're going, well then don't. Like, why did you put it away? Why don't you just work on it? Well, okay, here's the thing. It was my birthday. And I needed to start my birthday stitch along. So my birthday was Friday the 29th. And so I worked on my chatelaine on Thursday the 28th, and then for Friday the 29th, I needed to start my Bella Filipina Bellatrix. This is a stitch along that I'm doing with, it was just kind of organically happened that a few other people wanted to stitch this chart as well. So primarily Gary from Sunshine Stitchers. That was much harder than it should have been. So Gary, and then my friend Matt, he's on Flosstube and Instagram as MBC Stitcher. And then our friend Kate, who is Stitchy Aardvark. And I think I might be forgetting somebody. There's a couple other people that kind of like jumped into, but that was kind of the primary original people who were like, yes, let's do it. So Instagram hashtag Bellatrix birthday Sal is what I'm using to show progress on Bellatrix. So I took off Friday from work. So my birthday was on Friday. So I was off Friday and then of course Saturday and Sunday. And I decided to just have a weekend of selfishness and just stitch and watch movies and eat what I wanted and like not worry about cleaning the house or getting things done or, you know, just have a super lazy weekend. So on Friday, I stitched on Bellatrix and I watched Jane Austen movies all day long. You can see this on my Instagram, which my Instagram is the same as my Flosstube. It's Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. And I posted, after every time I finished a movie, I posted my progress. So you can kind of see my progression on Friday. And then on Saturday, I was like, let's do it again. So on Saturday, I watched 3 more Jane Austen movies and continued to work on Bellatrix. She is really, really fun to stitch. Her colors are just so pretty. I'm stitching her on 32 count X-Jude design fabric. It's in the color Witchy Pink. And she's looking really good on this fabric. And that's how far I got in Friday, Saturday, and then I did work on her a little bit on Sunday as well. So she's a lot of stitching, but she's really fun to stitch. And once you get into a rhythm with her dress, it's really not too bad. Because it is blocks of, I mean, it's a few different colors, but you do like swaths of the color. So you kind of just get your like outline and then you can just fill it in. So, and Matt gave me this needle minder. And I got this needle minder from It's Charm School on Etsy. It says, I just want to hang with my dog. And that's what I did. I hung out with my dog and I watched Jane Austen movies. I think that's all my, is that all my whips? I think that's all my whips. I think so. Okay, so I have some haul / stash enhancements. I've been buying some stuff. Okay, like it was my birthday. Okay, so you know how that goes, right? Like it's your birthday and you're like, well, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and order this. And honestly, half the stuff I ordered isn't here yet. So this is just some of the things that I have obtained. Okay, so where to start? So I ordered like a metric ton of color and cotton floss from Fat Quarter Shop because they started carrying color and cotton floss. And I wanted to build my stash up. I'm trying to explore some other flosses. So you saw I bought all those flosses from Forbidden Fiber Company. And I already had quite a collection of color and cotton floss because I was in their Floss of the Month club for like a year and a half maybe. But I did cancel it at one point and moved over to fabric because I thought I had enough floss. But then I decided I didn't, so I bought all these. These aren't even all of them. I've already pulled some for projects, but I bought a bunch of floss from Color and Cotton. So Fat Quarter Shop, like I said, had just started carrying these. So if you are looking for some Color and Cotton floss, go check there because I really have been very happy with ordering from Fat Quarter Shop. During like the pandemic, you know, everybody got behind on shipping and of course there were delays, but they are all caught up now. So when I order from them, it usually ships out within like a day or two and everything is always just great. So go check them out if you need some color and cotton floss or some other stuff. They've got everything. I ordered from my girl Abby, Top Knot. So I told you guys I ordered these Lady Dot trims, right? I needed these trims for my hearts, my helpless trio. And I knew Abby had them. She has a great selection of Lady Dot trims. So I went there to just get those, but then I got some other stuff while I was there. So Abby has started carrying Picture This Plus fabrics. And just in the last like couple weeks, she started carrying that. So that's new to her shop. So I got Picture This Plus 32 count Moon Glow, which is like a really pretty gold mottled. And then I got, oh, she was having a sale on Blackbird Designs. So I got, I mean, I already had most of them, but I got the ones I didn't have yet. So I got Flea Market Souvenir. This is a really cool pattern. the instructions are that you take 3 different pieces of linen. I don't know if you can see that, but you take 3 different pieces of linen and you stitch the pattern in 3 different pieces. I'm going to hold it way back here. So like it's 3 charts. And then you sew them together. I mean, you don't have to do that, but I think that's kind of cool. And I think I'm going to do it that way. And then I kind of rolled the dice on this one. So this is Blackbird Designs in Friendship's Way. And this is a little book. I don't know if you can tell. It's not like quite as big as their booklets usually are. It's like a little smaller. But it is a booklet. But I had always passed on this one. Like I would see it and I would just be like, oh yeah, like those are pretty, but like, I don't know. I kept passing on it because I could never find pictures of what was in this book. So, you know, you get the 3 projects on the front, and then on the back, there's some strawberries. And these were, whenever you look online at listings for this booklet, it's just these 2 pictures. And so I was like, well, I don't think I need that. And then I read the description and it said, somewhere, it said there are 11 projects in here. And I was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, what else is in this book? And I could not find online what was in this book. And I decided, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to buy it and we'll see. So I bought it. And then I got to thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what the other 11 things are? It's going to be like 19 strawberries in there. It's just going to be, I was like, it's just going to be a book full of strawberries, which are fine, but not like that exciting to me. But I was pleasantly surprised when I got this book. So I'm going to show you guys what's in here because maybe some of you out there are like me and you've been wondering what's in here, right? So there is the honeycomb that's on the cover. It's actually pretty cute, a little honeycomb pincushion. And then there is Welcome Dear August, which is also on the cover and is very pretty. And then there is The Winter is Past, which is on the cover and is really, I think, really stunning. It's very pretty. So I knew those were in here, of course. And then we get into the strawberries and I thought, okay, here we go. The other 8 projects in this book are going to be strawberries. Well, that's not entirely true. There are more strawberries, but there's some other stuff too. This strawberry is hilarious. It would literally take like an hour to stitch. Like some of these are funny because I'm like, those are definitely safts, start and finish. This one also you could probably stitch in 2 hours. So like they're little strawberries. They're very, very little strawberries. Here's another one. So again, I'm flipping through and I'm like, oh my God, it's just all strawberries. This one's really cool. It's a moth. This was on the back cover too. But then, I was in for a treat. This sampler's in here. This is the 1861 antique sampler, and I actually really like it. It's pretty simple, but there's something about it that is really appealing. This is actually the original. They don't even have a model stitch of the one that they recharted. This is the original. But they charted it, I think, pretty much almost identical. And last but not least, there's also this chart, which is called Button Box. And I think that's pretty cool too. So yeah, I actually am really glad that I took a chance and bought this book. I'm actually pretty excited about some of those projects in there. So what else did I buy? Oh, so Rocio, Kokohama's Stitchery. She posted, hey guys, 123 Stitch has the Mirabilia Halloween Fairy kit on sale. And I've been wanting to stitch this ever since Diana, It Is Kismet, finished hers. And so I went over to 123 Stitch and I bought the kit on sale. But unfortunately, I can't use almost all of the flosses that came in the kit. So this was originally charted with Crescent Colorworks, which became Classic Colorworks. Well, the dye lots really changed quite a bit. And I'm just really not happy. Like, okay, this orange, right? The orange on her bag and on her dress. It calls for Classic Colorworks Tangerine. So you see it's just like a nice normal orange. Here's what they sent me. Like sherbet. This is not orange. I mean, look how, like, look at this pumpkin. Look at this pumpkin. I'm supposed to make it this color? No. Okay. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then the dress. Her dress calls for primarily two colors, Bunny Honey and Chocolate Cream Pie. And these colors are pretty close. Like, they're the right tone. But do you see how, like, flat these are? There's, like, no variegation in these. And look how variegated her dress is compared to these. So then I was like, oh, yeah, no. I don't think I like that either. And then her wings. The primary color in her wings, which is Dandelion Stem, is what it's called. What they sent me does not look like that. It's just a super duper duper light green. With, again, like almost no variegation. So I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed. I mean, it's been a long time since this kit came out and like dye lots have changed and whatever, but I had to laugh at myself because I bought this kit at a great price and I can't use really much in it at all. I already knew I was going to swap out the linen. The linen is just a simple, like, natural linen, like a 32 count. And I wanted something more fun. So I already knew I wasn't going to use the linen. But then to not be able to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the 10 flosses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. I can't use 7 of the 10 flosses. So that was a little disappointing. However, I used it as an opportunity to kind of get creative and go a little bit rogue. So I got into those new color and cottons that I had just bought from Fat Quarter Shop, and I picked new colors for the wings and for the dress and for the pumpkin. And some of them I stayed true to the spirit of the pattern, and some of them I changed up and they're going to be way different. So I'm actually really excited. However, I can't start this anytime soon. I can't start anything until April. I really wanted to start this, but I gotta wait. I'm gonna wait. But I'm excited about that, about the changes I made. Okay, so what else did I buy? So I am really excited about these patterns. This is an Etsy seller, Paper Crane Stitches. And I printed these in black and white, so I do apologize. You're not going to get like the full look. But Paper Crane Stitches released these Bridgerton inspired patterns, but she released 3 versions, so you can stitch it. It's just one color. I think she has it charted as like a crimson dark red. One says, even forever would not be long enough to love you. One says, forever would never be long enough to love you. And one says, Forever would never be long enough. So she gave you 3 different options for the words, and then she also gave options for the couple. So you can do a man and a woman and a woman, or a man and a man. And this is another one. I have to wait until April to start, but I am very excited about this pattern. And I think it'll stitch up really fast. And I haven't decided which version I'm doing yet. So while I was at Catherine's shop, I also bought this pattern that I've just like been meaning to buy forever. And it's Till Death Do Us Part. But there's a charting for it. It's not here on the cover, but you can insert up here. It says, "Till your mysterious death do us part." That looks like it'll stitch really fast too. And then my girl Abby over at Top Knot Stitcher released like the cutest pattern for Valentine's. It's called Be My Boo. And I was actually surprised because like 2 people finished this like the next day after she released it. So I guess it stitches up pretty quick. She charted it with some Dinky Dyes silk, and I actually ordered those from her, and I think they're going to be here tomorrow, but it doesn't really matter because I can't start it yet anyway. But I did go ahead and get the Dinky Dyes silk from her, and I think this is so cute. And then, oh, so because it was my birthday, I got an email from Lindy Stitches. So, okay, sign up. You guys need to sign up for the Lindy Stitches newsletter because she sends freebies like pretty often. But also on your birthday, she sends you a discount code. So I got a discount code, so I had to go buy some stuff. So I bought the PDF of I Forget the Rest. I've always loved this and just been meaning to buy it. So I bought the PDF for I Forget the Rest. And then I bought some other stuff. I don't even remember now what I bought. Because she sells like flosses and fabric, and she sells Lady Dot Creates trims. I think I bought maybe some pom-poms and some fabric. I don't even remember what else I bought. And so it's already shipped. So when it gets here, I guess I'll see what I got because I don't remember. Kathy Barrick is having a sale on her Etsy. All of her patterns are on her Etsy as PDFs. And they're all 20% off. I don't know for how long, but I think they're still on sale. So I got Susanna Foley Tombstone Angel because I've just been meaning. It was like sitting in my cart. I almost bought it a week ago, and then she had this sale. I was so glad I had waited. And then I got another one, but I forgot to print it. I got the Good Intentions, the one that says I myself am. It's something like I myself am made of flaws, stitched together with good intentions, something like that. Okay, and then the last, I think this is my last thing. My last thing. Park Hopper Bart. I very much struggled to say his name in my last video. Park Hopper Bart. He is also on Gumroad, and he released this Shakespeare's Valentine, and it is so beautiful, and I want to do both versions. I can't pick which one I'm going to do. I like both. Maybe I will just do both of them. I like both of them so much. So I had to grab that. It feels like a lifetime ago, but it was only like 2 weeks ago. Okay, I think that's all my... No, there's one last... Oh, I almost forgot like the craziest thing. A gift. I received a gift. It was mostly because it was my birthday, but also I think just because. My friend Victor, Flawed Sir, I talk about him a lot because he is so amazing. And he sent me, he told me he was going to send me something. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, great, thank you. I'll look out for it. And then like this huge box shows up. So first of all, it all came in this Chief's tote. Ooh, I just remembered that I left part of this gift out in the front. So, making a note to myself. Okay, there might be a little bit of an awkward edit, but I need to go grab something I forgot. Okay, I'm back. I had to go grab part of the gift because it's already like on display in my living room. Oh my God. Okay, so Victor sends me a box full of amazing things. So, first of all, he stitched me, I think he stitched me this a long time ago, and he just finally sent it to me. This is it's a Harry Potter Hermione. He knows Hermione's my favorite. And it says, it's bottomless mimosas, not mimosas, which is a play on Wingardium Leviosa in the first movie. And he stitched this on linen. It kind of looks like that Fortnite linen. It kind of looks like Grandma's stuffing, but I don't think it is. Anyway, so he had stitched me this, and I think had been meaning to send it for a while. And finished it, of course, in a cute little frame. So already I'm like thrilled. And then he stitched me probably the most amazing thing I've ever received. He stitched this Chief's Kingdom pillow, and it is teeny tiny. Like, oh, I forgot to ask him. It has to be like, oh my gosh, sorry, I've got hair on there. It has to be like 56 count. I think it is. I think it's 56 count. These are the tiniest little stitches, and it's over 2. So it's not like he took like a 40 count and did over 1. It's just the tiniest little stitch. Oh my gosh, the stitches are teeny. So this was a lot of work. In case you guys didn't know, Kansas City Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. He also finished it super cute. Like, look at this look at it. It's so cute. I'm actually kind of jealous. I've never finished a pillow this nicely. Like, this is a really beautiful finishing job. So yeah, I'm obsessed. This is in my living room, in my rocking chair, on display always. So he stitched me those 2 things, and then he bought me a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to show all of it because like it would take forever, but basically like he went to the craft store. I don't know which one, if it's Joann's or what, but like he went and like he bought everything like red and yellow that he could find. So he said he was just like, he wasn't sure how he was going to finish the pillow. So he had bought a bunch of like finishing things. And then after he finished it this way, and then he was like, what am I going to do with all this red and yellow stuff? So he sent it to me, which I very much appreciate. There's more too. I mean, this is not all of it, but he sent me all different like trims. He sent me some DMC Etoile and a regular DMC. There are some like other cute little goodies in here, but what I wanted to show you guys is the needle minders that he sent. So where are these? These are from Gina's Unique Boutique. And they're bookish needle minders. So like this one says life is better with dogs and books. And then this one is a little bookshop in the middle. Ooh, sorry about the glare. Hopefully you can see those okay. And then this one is just a little bookshelf. So, ooh, sorry. Sorry, glare. And then he sent me this one. I love this. It says, "Don't be salty." Victor stitched my Salty 24/7 sampler. He sent me, these needle minders are great. These I had not heard of. This is, what's the company called? Is that what the company's? It says Rude, Offensive, and Funny Cross Stitch. I think that's what it's called. Like, I think that's actually what the name is called. Rude, Offensive, and Funny Cross Stitch, I think is the company. Anyway. There's some fun needle minders there. And then this one. And lastly, almost lastly, he sent me this Imaginating Kit Folk Art Sampler. It comes with the floss, like a ton of floss. It's DMC $4.98, but it's a ton of it. And some Ada. But it's a Redwork sampler. So like the whole kit, everything you need. And then I think like what had started all this was I had told him, he had showed me that he had this pattern. And I said, oh my God, I was going to buy that one when I was at my LNS, but they didn't have it. They had like there's a few different ones. I don't know. I don't remember the story, but they didn't have the one I wanted or something. So this is Whispered by the Wind, Wizard's Gate. So he sent me this pattern, but he either accidentally or on purpose bought another one. So that'll be a giveaway. I'll probably give that away when like we're ready to actually start stitching it. And then he got me a project bag to go with the pattern. So this is a project bag from the 805 Stitcher. It's really pretty. Look at it. It's so pretty. So it's like these creepy old like haunted houses, and there's like a little witch at the bottom. And then the lining fabric is really cool too. Ghosts and jack-o'-lanterns. So this project bag is awesome. So he sent me, I'm sure it's for this project because this project was in the bag and it matches, it coordinates very well. So yeah, Victor always spoils me. Like he always goes like above and beyond, and I love him for it. He is the best. So that was so fun. It arrived, I think, the night before my birthday. So it was like perfect. And I waited, and then I opened it on my birthday, and it was so great. It was so great. So, okay, that's all of the stitching things I have today. I'm going to talk about books a little bit, but I'm going to try to go fast just because this video is getting really long. But I've read a ton of books. I am 3 books ahead on my Goodreads reading challenge. I have been really in the mood to read. Like I've been wanting to just sit on the couch and get cozy and read. It's probably just like something to do with the time of the year. But I've been reading a lot. And also I've been reading some good books, so that also like helps kind of, you know, keep me going. But what I read first, like since last video, was book 3 of the Witcher series. Book 3 is called Baptism of Fire. However, it's book 3, but it's really like book 5 because there are 2 books that you should read before you read book 1 of The Witcher. So they're kind of prequels, but you really should read those first. So it's The Last Wish is the first one, and then Blood of Elves is the next. So you need to read those before you read book 1 of the, wait, I don't know. Maybe that's just one prequel. I feel like there were 2. Either way, this is book 3, but it's really not book 3, is what I'm getting at. Maybe it's only the 4th book I've read. I feel like it was the 5th. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. So, this book was interesting. Actually, I liked it. It was good. I've enjoyed the Witcher books very much. He's very dry and sarcastic, and he makes me laugh because he's such a, like, socially awkward, like, introvert. But this book, like, nothing happens in this book, basically. So it really felt like filler because, like, him and Dandelion, they're just, like, traipsing around the country, and they meet some people, and, like, you know, they hunt some monsters, and, like, that's it. Like, that's the end of the book. So nothing happens to really move the plot forward. Like, very, very, very little happens to actually, like, do a lot for the world of The Witcher. So that's a little bit disappointing. However, that doesn't mean it wasn't enjoyable and fun to read, because I like a good, like, side quest adventure story. You know, like, that's fun. The characters were fun. You meet some new people in this one, and get to know them, and, you know, it was a good time. It was a good time, but it didn't really advance the plot, like, at all. And it was pretty stark when you compare to the last book, which was, I think, Time of Contempt, in which a ton of things happened in this world. I can't really talk about it without it being very spoilery, but if you've read the first book, or if you've seen the first season of the show, you know, The Witcher is kind of like, he's not genetically engineered, but he's been, like, he's been experimented on and mutated to make him, like, more than human, and he slays monsters in this mythical world. There are also witches and mages in this world, and he gets into a relationship with a witch, so she's, like, a main character in the books. But the main character, besides Geralt the Witcher, is Ciri, who is a prophesied child who grows through the books, and we get to see her from childhood into young adult, young woman. But she has elven blood, she has some magical abilities, and the stories kind of center around Geralt and Ciri, and having the prophecies have, like, entwined their destinies, and they have, like, kind of a mystical connection. But Ciri is barely in this book. You literally see her for, like, 2 minutes. So I was missing her. I wanted more Ciri. But it was still fun. It was fun just, like, you know, going on a little adventure with Geralt and Dandelion and the random people that they meet on the road. But I'm excited to see if the next book kind of, like, actually starts to move the plot again. Like I said, it felt like filler, but I still liked it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was still a good time. And random, you meet a vampire in this book, which was hilarious because I had just finished a vampire book, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, which I talked about in my last video. And I was like, God, I'm really feeling vampires. Like, I want to read some vampire books. I'm like back into vampires. And then I pick up The Witcher, which has never featured vampires, and I certainly didn't expect one to turn up. There's a vampire in that book. So next I read on my Kindle, I read a book from Tessa Dare called The Duchess Deal. I'll insert a picture here. So this is a historical romance. After reading The Duke and I by Julia Quinn, which I had a lot of thoughts on in my last video. And thank you for those who replied. Like I had like some good discussion going with some people. Anyway, I was in the mood for historical romance, but with a different angle, a different slant. And I have read almost all of Tessa Dare's books, and I think I talked about this last time. I feel like she is like historical romance with a feminist slant. And a lot of the problem I have with historical romance is how anti-feminist it is. It can get really, really, really problematic. And so I really enjoy Tessa Dare because her heroines are more empowered and I don't know. I mean, I highly recommend her. If you're interested in historical romance, read Tessa Dare. She is great. The Duchess deal was really good. I actually was kind of surprised how much I enjoyed it because with historical romance, especially when you start reading a lot of it, which I can fall into sometimes, like I'll just like when I got into Tessa Dare a couple of years ago, I read like 8 of her books in like 2 months, you know, so like you just start to read a ton of it and it all starts to get really formulaic and you start to kind of be like, ugh, like I've heard this story before. It just gets a little bit repetitive. And in my opinion, and this is true of all different authors in historical romance. And this book felt like a new take and a new angle, like, which I really appreciated. It just felt a little more fresh. But the main character, or the male love interest in the book, the Duke of Ashbury, he has been disfigured and scarred in a war accident. And he is a recluse and he doesn't leave his house. And, you know, like half of his face is scarred, his body is scarred. So he's not like your conventional, super handsome, you know, main love interest. And so that was already like a unique take. And then he's got like the most dry, dark, sarcastic, witty sense of humor. So he was just really fun to read because he was just such a like, he was just, I would laugh out loud at some of the things he would say. And then the female love interest, Emma, is, you know, really like she holds her own. She's super sassy. She's not intimidated by him. So their dynamic was really cute. And I really liked it a lot. So I actually very much enjoyed that Tessa Dare book. I've enjoyed all of her books. I wasn't like expecting not to, but I think like I enjoyed it even more than I expected. So I highly recommend that if you're into historical romance. So the next book I read was by Rainbow Rowell, and it's called Attachments. Now Rainbow Rowell writes a lot of young adult, but this is a contemporary adult, I guess you could call it a romance, but like there's no sex or anything in this book. So it's really mostly just a contemporary adult. But I just really enjoy Rainbow Rowell. She writes, she's really funny. Like I always laugh out loud during her books. She always has like a socially awkward character that you can like totally relate to, like when they do something really awkward and embarrassing and you're like, yep, been there. I've been there. But this book is really cute. So it's set, she wrote it in like 2012, but it's set in 1999. Do you guys remember? Some of you do. Y2K. Remember 1999 when like everybody was freaking out about the computers rolling over in the year 2000 and how like the world might end, and it was just like total pandemonium. So this book is set in Y2K 1999, and so it's at a newspaper, and I think it's in Omaha, Nebraska, or maybe Lincoln. I think it's Omaha. Anyway, it's set at a newspaper, and there's an IT guy who comes in, and he works like the night shift, and he's trying to like get the company ready for Y2K, but he's also tasked with monitoring employees' emails. And so he receives like, you know, flagged emails that he has to review and see if like these people need a warning or a write-up if they're using their work email inappropriately. And there are two women who work at the newspaper, and they email back and forth all day. They're really good friends. And he, like, a few of their emails get dinged and come to him, and he's like, you know, it's pretty harmless what they're talking about. I'm not going to write them a warning. Like, they seem pretty fun and pretty cool. Well, then he like falls into this rabbit hole where he starts to get really attached to these two women and like really invested in their lives, because they're emailing each other back and forth about like things that are going on in their dating life and their relationships, and he's like really invested. And so then he's like having this moral dilemma because he's like eavesdropping on them, and they're talking about really personal things, and he's falling for one of these women, and he has no idea what she looks like. No idea. So it's like this blind attraction, and he's falling for her. And then in the meantime, she is kind of seeing this like cute guy around work, but she doesn't know who he is or where he works. So she's like emailing her friend, and she's like, oh my God, I saw the cute guy today at the pop machine. And it's him, but he doesn't know because he doesn't, you know, whatever. So it's just really interesting because it explores this dynamic of love is blind, right? He's falling for this woman, having never laid eyes on her, right? He's just falling for like her personality and her mind. And then she's falling for this guy, love at first sight. She's never talked to him. She knows nothing about him, but she sees him, and there's like this connection. And so it's this really interesting dichotomy going on between love at first sight, love is blind. But it was really interesting to watch them finally like figure it out and come together at the end. I really enjoyed the book up until, I gotta be honest, like the end was a little weird for me. Like the way they get together, like it was a little weird, but I didn't hate it. It was just a little awkward. But yeah, it was really cute. Like it didn't blow my mind. I don't need to ever read it again, probably. I like her other books much more, but it was cute. It was a fun read. I didn't hate it. I think I gave it 3 stars. I don't know. Okay, so then 2 more books to talk about. So my friend Andrea, Stitchy Bookworm. I talk about her in every video because her and I are always buddy reading something. So she's going to come up in every video. And right now what we are doing is rereading the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. So if you remember a couple months ago, Andrea and I reread Six of Crows and the Crooked Kingdom, which is another series from this author. And we reread it just because we really wanted to. But then we realized that Netflix is making a show set in this world. The show is called Shadow and Bone. And we were like, you know what, let's reread. Like, we need to reread Shadow and Bone. And I was like, yeah, I think it's been like a while since I read it. So yeah, let's do it. And I've started the second book now. And I am so enjoying this reread. This is such a fun, like, it's just a fun world to be back in. So the show comes out on Netflix, I think on April 26th. So if anybody's interested in checking out this series, you know, you've got time to read it before the show comes out. So it's the Grisha trilogy. So it's Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising. And this show is actually really interesting because it's going to primarily be in this world, but it's also going to do like a prequel for the Six of Crows Crooked Kingdom duology. So when you're reading the books, you read this trilogy first, and then the Six of Crows series is set like across the sea in a different location with like all new characters, and it happens like a year or two after this book. So they're related, they're in the same world, but they're really kind of their own things. They're kind of like standalones. But what the show is going to do is give us this series, but then they're going to take our Six of Crows people and they're going to show us what they were doing in the years before the Six of Crows book, what they were up to before we met them, how they formed their relationships, how they made their little gang, how things came to be. Like, we're getting their backstory like concurrently with the Shadow and Bone trilogy. So I'm actually really, really excited because we're going to get like this story we know and love, and we're going to get to see it play out on the screen. But then we're going to get like new stories with characters we know and love from the other series. So I love Leigh Bardugo. I love everything I've read by her. Like, she can do no wrong in my eyes. I love her. So this trilogy, this was her first book. This was her debut novel. So I can see, especially with the reread, I can see how she's grown as an author, but it's still so good. Like, I'm not saying this isn't great, but her newer books are even better than this. So she was, she was a little green when she wrote this, but it's still a great story. I read it in like 2 or 3 days. It's 300 and something pages, but it just reads so fast. But it features a world that's it's not our world, right? It's a made up world. But there are people who have magical powers called Grisha, and they can do various things. Like, some of them can summon wind or change the tides, or like summon fire. There's a class of Grisha called heart renders that can like stop your heart or speed it up. Like, they can manipulate your cardiovascular system. So they're very dangerous because they can kill you like that. But there are these Grisha who have magical abilities. And then there are the normal people who don't have any magic. And there is a conflict, of course, always between people who are different, people who are other, and people who are normal. There are different countries at war in this world. And in this trilogy, the main focus is a girl named Alina, who is a Grisha, but doesn't know. Like, she had suppressed her power as a child, and it never like showed itself. So she grew up thinking she was normal, and then she finds out, when she's put into an extraordinary circumstance, she finds out that she is actually incredibly powerful and has a very unique power among the Grisha. And there is the most powerful Grisha is called the Darkling, and his power is vast. He can do a lot of things, but primarily he can make things like dark. He can take away the light. And I'm not explaining this well. He's a really scary bad dude, okay? Like, basically. And Alina is kind of like the counter to the Darkling. So I'm not going to like spoil what she can do because you find out in the book. But anyway, the trilogy is about them basically going head to head. Like, who's going to come out on top, right? It's good versus evil. Light versus dark. So book 1 is kind of just the setup, and then book 2 moves into more of them actually like going head to head. And I just started book 2. I'm not very far into it, but I'm absolutely loving this reread. I really love this trilogy. It is a young adult fantasy. If anybody's looking for that, I do highly recommend it. And the last book I read was an ebook. My friend Marissa, she is on Instagram and Flosstube as Kissa Creations. She's a designer as well. And we were chatting, and we both, I don't remember like how it all came up, but basically it came up that I've been wanting to reread the Sookie Stackhouse books. If you're familiar with the show True Blood on HBO, the Sookie Stackhouse books were written before the show, and then they made them into the TV show. And I had read the books. I actually looked at my Goodreads. It was like, I think I read them like 15 years ago. Like, it was a long time ago. And so I was like, I want the vampires again. Like, I want to read these books. And Marissa was like, me too. I love those books. I want to read them too. So we decided we would like reread the series. So we've read the first book, which is Dead Until Dark. I'll insert a picture here. So I got this as an ebook from the library. So this is the first book. If you watch season 1 of True Blood, it follows this book really, really, really closely. The show at some point did start to kind of go off and do its own thing and make some pretty significant changes. But the first few seasons like followed the books pretty closely. So it was so lovely, like, and comfortable and familiar, like just falling back into that world, because I watched that show like so many, like I watched season 1 probably 8 times. Like, I mean, I loved that show. And I read the books over and over because I would, before the new seasons would come out, I would read all the books. And so the later books I've only read once or twice, but like the first 4 books I've read like 8 times. So it was very familiar and very comfortable. But they're fun. I mean, they're not great. Like, they're not gonna blow your mind, but they're fun books. The show is much sexier and darker. So I actually really appreciate the show in that way. Charlaine Harris, like, you can tell she's like super uncomfortable with writing sex scenes. Like, sometimes they're like laugh out loud funny, like some of the things that she writes in a sex scene. Like, it'll be like, oh golly gee. And she won't like go into detail, and she kind of will just be like, and then we kissed, and then he blew my mind, the end. Like, she does not like to write sex scenes. And that's fine, but this genre, it's paranormal romance. Like, most series in this genre have very explicit, smutty sex scenes. So it is a little weird that she's like afraid to write one, but whatever. The show, the TV show is not afraid to give you that smut. So the books are fun. Go watch the show. Like, it's a perfect pairing. I actually cannot wait. I cannot wait to rewatch season 1 of True Blood, because it's been a while since I've watched it. So I'm actually really excited about that. And then Marissa and I probably in the next couple weeks will start book 2 in this series, and it's going to be a good time. So, all right, I feel like my voice is getting hoarse. I've talked so much. So I am done. That is all I have. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.